to another episode of TC2. And tonight we have Deidre Smith. And she's going to be talking about...
Beg your pardon? Bisexuality.
So how you doing this evening, Deidre?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the topic tonight?
Well, my name is Deidre Smith. I'm a native Detroiter. I am an artist. I'm an MC. I'm an activist or artivist. I'm very involved in community and art.
And what type of art do you do?
I'm an MC. I am an author. I'm a sketch artist and singer-songwriter. Just a multitude of things.
A multitude of things?
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
So, let's get into tonight's topic about
Yes.
bisexuality. When did you realize that you was bisexual?
I think I realized that very young, maybe 4 or 5 years old.
Okay, and when did you, what made you realize, I think this might be me?
When I realized where other little girls, the classmates would get jealous of the pretty girl in class, and I had more of an appreciation for her.
Okay.
You know, it was like, you develop, oh, she thinks she's cute. And I'm like, she is. She is cute, half us.
Okay.
And I appreciate it.
Now, what about the boys?
Oh, my goodness.
Them out now.
The boys were handsome. I remember my first little boyfriends, a little puppy love and everything. They were handsome. Still handsome to this day. Grew up to be handsome, and I had good taste. So, yeah, that wasn't, I knew I was bisexual or different in the ways of what traditional heteronormative narratives for attraction were, when I realized my appreciation for both men and women or girls and boys at that age.
So when was your first sexual experience with who was your first sexual experience with? What gender?
First sexual experience as far as intimacy, like penetration and everything, that would be male.
Okay.
My first sexual experience is kissing and touching and playing house with boys and girls.
Both?
Okay. But as an adult, I wasn't sexually active until late teens.
Okay. And which gender do you feel like you enjoy the best?
I enjoy both, but I make homes and I make longer relationships with women.
Okay. And why do you feel that? You're more comfortable? Because it sounds like you're more comfortable with women as far as with having a long partnership than you are with men.
I think women were ready.
Okay.
I was very mature for my age, and I remember seeming kind of prudent and seeming more like an authority figure because I had a certain vision for my life. I knew I had a certain calling on my life, and I knew that I was going to be very serious with my art and my work. And so I remember dating the guys and saying, "What did you do today? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do tomorrow? Like, how did that job search go?" Like different things like that. Whereas, women, they were, "This is what I've done today. This is what I'm going to do today.
Okay.
This is what we're going to do." They were motivating me. As ambitious as I am, I feel like they were motivating me to be even more so. And so just naturally, I gel and made home lives with women.
Have you been in a long-term relationship with a man?
Yeah, long enough.
What was long for you?
Long enough for me is 6 months to a year. That's long enough for me.
How about for the woman?
For women, that's year and a half is the shortest that I've been. So it's years with women.
Okay.
And that's not to slight my men. I've loved them.
Okay.
And they're very sweet. They're gentlemen. I have a nice choice of men. But, it's for whatever reason, that wasn't the path.
Okay. Do you feel like, how was your family when you finally came out about your sexuality? Have they been receptive about it? Have they been supportive about it? How, just tell us, how was your family when you finally did come out about your sexuality?
Funny story. So, it was Sweetest Day, 2009 or 2010. And my mother, I would wear this fro. I was very into the natural look, and I had this huge fro. And my mother said, "Oh my goodness, let me press your hair for old time's sake." And I remember she was pressing my hair. She said, "So where are you going today anyway?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just going out with my boo." She said, "Who?" And I said her name. She said, She's zeroing in on me. She said, "It's funny. You say boo. You said your friend Tone was your boo. And now you call her your boo." She said, "What is a boo?" I said, "It can mean anything. Your friend, your homie, your lover." And she said, "So which one is she?" I said, "My lover." And let me tell you.
You had to put that down.
That pressing comb said, I sat there a little frozen. I sat frozen in my truth, and I was just like, "Oh my goodness, I pray this woman does not burn me." Nice woman, sophisticated. My mother was nice. And she said, "Well, that's an abomination, right?" I said, "That's what they say." She said, "It ain't what they say. It's what the Bible says." And I said, "Well, it says a lot of things." And I remember texting my girl at the time, and I said, "Don't come in today. I'll meet you on the porch."
So, was your mom accepting about your sexuality?
Not really. Not at all. She didn't say much to me about it after that, but her actions were very loud.
Okay.
And she tried to be loving toward me, but not accepting of me.
Okay.
She tried to be loving toward me. And, because of her disdain for it, I found myself in tough situations that led to homelessness. And, I knew that unfortunately she was one of the people that thought that it was good for me that I faced this hardship, because I shouldn't have been in that sin. And had I not been engaged in that sin, that abomination, I wouldn't have found myself on hard times. That's what she believed.
So, unfortunately, you ended up being homeless behind it. How long were you homeless?
Oh my goodness, it was a while. It was a few years, and it was streets, living out the car, squatting, couch hopping a couple of times, and staying with relatives of the ex. All kind of things. And it was really tough, but I kept my business obligation. People were none the wiser. I come looking for Zeno. Get myself cleaned up at the casino, Motor City Casino. And I would just come, and do what I had to do, because I was living my truth regardless.
Right.
So it is what it is.
But you came through it.
Absolutely.
Can you tell everybody where you're at right now in your life?
I'm living off the fruits of my labor. I've been blessed to have my artistry sustain me. I've been blessed to live off my creative endeavors. I've also been blessed to have had jobs that affirm who I am. Shout out to the Ruth Ellis Center that have affirmed who I am, and I've been blessed to be around people who are unabashedly living their truth. And I went from homeless to homeowner, praise Yahuwah. And I stuck to my goals. I set goals for myself in increments of 4 to 5 years. And I've kept them consistently from the age of early to mid-20s to now 36 years old. So it's all about consistency. Just, living your truth. It may be hard for some. Some people are blessed to have an embrace when they come out with their truth, but a lot of us aren't as lucky. No. So I've just been blessed.
You are a testimony to somebody out there that thinks that I'm not going to come out today, because if I come out, that I'm going to face homelessness, I'm going to face isolation and stuff. but can you give them words of encouragement about coming out?
I knew in that moment when I disclosed to my mother my attraction, relationship, and love for my partner at the time, I knew that it would possibly break her heart. I knew that it would cause a strain between us. But I also knew that, as transparent as I am, I couldn't sit on that truth. I remember feeling so in love that I just wanted to, it was just emanating from me. How could you keep something so secretive, I just knew that it was time to live my truth, and I knew that it would be hard, but I would be brought out on the other side, because oddly enough, the same things that my mother thought would keep me from the Father, Yahuwah actually brought me closer to Him. Because little had she known that all the spiritual things that she had instilled in me, that I'd come to know, those would be the things that I would lean on, and that would help me through what she believed to be my cursed time. It was actually a blessed time, because I prayed for an example of how strong my faith would be. And it's easy to say what you wouldn't do when you're in a comfortable situation. I didn't have to compromise my integrity. I was still able to keep the virtues about myself that I had, and I didn't have to compromise self. And I came out on the other end. There was some hungry times, some tough times that I screamed, and times I was really mad at God. And at the end of the day, He brought me through. And I know who I prayed to specifically. I know what I asked for, and the things that I asked for came to me specifically, not one day, not someday, but instantaneously. Instantly. Things were happening over here. Things that I prayed for to eat were right there. Exactly what you can't make this stuff up. And had I not had the partner with me that I had at the time, I would have no eyewitness to know what I'd gone through, what we had gone through. So, I tell anybody, live your truth. Provisions will be made for you. If you are a sincere person, if you try your best to do right by others and yourself, you will be taken care of. There were strangers. There were people that were not necessarily in the church. I wasn't necessarily in the church. People that were said to not be of God, but they were doing some very godly things. So be careful of how you discount people and decide what's holy and what isn't. I'll say that. Be careful of how you speak about folk. They may be the ones that you need help from.
This is true.
I'll tell you.
So, let's get back on your bisexuality. Do you feel a lot of times people sit here and feel because you're bisexual that you're promiscuous and you want to sleep with everybody, both men and women, and all this, and menage a trois and all that other stuff?
There are times when I find myself being stigmatized as promiscuous, not because people know me that have slept with multiple people, but it's only because I have the identity that I have with identifying as bisexual, and they think, well, you had to pick of the litter from both genders. So they're like, oh, you can be with anybody. That's the thing. I could be. I choose not to. There are times when I'm celibate, when I practice abstinence, and I can do that for a few years. And it's only because my bisexuality for me means that, this spirit that I connect with, this person that I connect with, this soul that I connect with, this heart that I connect with, just so happens to be a man, or just so happens to be a woman. And I think that my bisexuality has given me an emotional intelligence that I think I wouldn't have had I not been this way.
So you pretty much, when you're with one person, you're with one person. You're not out here.
Yes, I'm
hopping.
I'm scary that way. I know what fine is. I know what beauty is. I know what attraction is. But I also know what a lot of this ouch is.
Right.
And
so
I don't want it.
Let's get into that. Because also I try to talk on health topics and stuff, and I try to, really push about people getting tested and stuff. How is it, by you being a bisexual woman, how is your health care provider with you? Do they try to make sure that they're going through the health assessments that they need to?
Mm-hmm.
Are they making sure that you're getting HIV, STD tested when you should?
Well, I had to push for that.
Okay.
I'll tell you how it goes. It goes from one extreme to the next. Seldom there's a medium.
Okay.
So initially you get, are you sexually active? You say, yeah. If you say yes, great. How do you identify? Bisexual. Oh, that's how many partners have you had?
Right, because they think immediately you've been sleeping with everybody.
So then when you say I have been sexually active, but not in this moment. Actually, it's been this amount of time because I've been practicing abstinence.
Right.
Then they say, okay, well, so what's the last person you were with? A woman. We can back up. You're all right. You're all right. We'll be right there with you. You know, and it's like, no, check me out because I'm asking for these tests to be run. I like the whole gauntlet.
Right.
Run the whole gauntlet. And at times they feel as though, first they go from, you must be promiscuous because you're bi. Let's question you about how many partners you've had. Then when you say, well, I'm not actually sexually active at the moment. Then they say, well, when you are, with who? You're like, with the women. They're like, oh,
well, we don't
you're
need
okay.
to test you.
It's like, no, yes, you do.
So have you felt like you had to push them to test you?
Initially, I did.
Okay.
Now my providers have come to know me and they know what I want.
Okay, so they've gotten better. Because, unfortunately, that is the case with a lot of people, especially lesbians and bisexual women, that we're constantly faced when we go to our providers. They don't feel like they have to run the sexual assessments or sexual screenings that they need to run on us because they figure if we're with a same-sex partner, they don't have to do that. But if we're using that, we need to be getting it checked.
That's right.
Everything needs to get still checked, because you don't know what the other person's out here doing.
That's right.
What was I going to ask you? I had something else to ask you, and I completely forgot what it was. But I know it's on terms with the provider. So you said they have gotten better with doing the testing and all that and everything. Are you, when you have partners, do you speak to them in references as far as getting tested themselves?
Yes, I speak to partners about being tested. One, because I present my papers and you can go on my patient portal and see what you need to know. Only because I want the transparency, because I like to, if I'm getting down, I'm getting down, okay? And I know that if I have any apprehension, then I won't be as comfortable and relaxed as I need to be during the, sexual act. And so I would like to have that same level of respect and transparency for my partners.
Right.
Because if there's that mutual understanding and respect there, and that transparency, then it just makes for a smoother transition into a sexual relationship.
Plus, you know what? You should know what's going on with your partners before you. If you're healthy, they should be healthy, and they're not bringing anything back to you. With the LGBT community, I know sometimes we find that, especially with lesbian, bisexual women, we make differences with each other, and it's almost like if you're not lesbian and you identify as being bisexual, it's like you're outed by lesbians. Why do you feel that happens?
Because unfortunately, within the LGBTQIA, there are still humans that are very nuanced. They have their own prejudices, their own opinions and biases. And unfortunately, some still subscribe to a very heteronormative narrative. I can speak on one incident where there was a more masculine identifying lesbian who was debating myself and someone else about the discuss for stud on stud. One masculine identifying lesbian with another masculine identifying. I said to myself, who cares? What does it matter? They're lesbians. she went on to say, well, ever since we're little, when we're in preschool, we're taught that men marry women. What does that have to do with us?
Right.
In this room today.
Correct.
As bisexual, lesbian women. What does that have to do with us?
Right.
But she held tight to that heteronormative narrative.
Okay.
In order to create the foundation of her argument with me on why a stud shouldn't be with a stud.
So let me ask you a question. Do you feel like there's more resistance with bisexual women or more prejudice for bisexual women from studs versus more from femmes?
It's hard to say. In that instance, I found it from being more from a more masculine identifying woman.
Mm-hmm.
But I find within the community as a whole, bisexuality doesn't have enough visibility within the community. And it's because I find myself to have been stripped of my identity, or somebody attempted to strip me of my identity when they say, well, you're with a woman, when's the last time you had a man? And if the time frame is too long for them, then oh, you lesbian. And then if I'm with a guy, and they say, well, how long has it been since you've been with a woman? Oh, you was just bi-curious. Says who?
Right.
I've told you who I am. Respect me as such.
Right.
But because you have your preconceived notions and biases, you're trying to define for me who I am.
Right.
I've already told you. I need no definition from you. I've told you who I am.
Exactly.
But I find that that's just, within the community itself. And that's because people are nuanced.
Okay. Do you think it comes from the isms that are projected onto the community? Because, I mean, you do have gay whites who are prejudiced of black gays. And I'm also finding black gays are prejudiced of lesbians, bisexuals, and I'm finding it's more like encompassed around the bisexual. So do you feel a lot of that has to do with the different isms that's out there?
Absolutely. I think, like I said, the isms, prejudices, biases, nuances, all those play a part. Now, when you talk about a marginalized people, it's easy to gain comrades that have a similar struggle, and you galvanize for the sake of numbers. After the fight is over, the numbers dissipate, we go to our respective corners, and those same biases, isms, nuances, they don't just disappear. They're still there.
Right.
Within these cell groups. So that's why we have so many conflicting ideas of what somebody's identity is. But here's the thing about that. When you let somebody tell you who they are, you don't have to scrabble around and find out who they are. Because they tell you who they are. You tell me what your name is and who you are. I respect you and call you that. I don't have to create a name or identity for you. How arrogant of me to do it.
So my question is, in the LGBT community, what do you want to see that can change to strengthen the relationships with bisexuals, with the with the rest of the acronyms with LGBT?
The inclusiveness that we claim to have.
Okay.
That's it. Let's be who we say we are. Quit playing. Let's be who we say we are.
Exactly.
That's it. And it'd be far more cohesive. Respect me when I tell you who I am. That's it. It's simple.
So let me ask you another question. Yeah. Do you think we'll ever get to that point? I don't think so either.
Because once again, people are nuanced, biased, prejudiced, racist, all these things.
And I hate to say this, and if they've been raised and these are their value systems that's been instilled in them, a lot of that's not going to change. You can give people education and awareness, but it doesn't mean that that's going to change them. Because if it's instilled in them, that's them.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might catch on to that bait and say, I'm going to change, you know, because I need to. But others, no. But it's disheartening because for the LGBT community, we're already discriminated because of us, of who we love and who we identify we are. You understand? So to me, it would be a no-brainer for us to get along with each other. You know, but unfortunately,
it would seem like it.
It would
seem like it, but like I said, like with any marginalized people, we come together for the sake of galvanizing and getting these numbers up, and we are more comrades than anything.
Right.
Comrades go to war. We go to war. We take down. We war against the machine. And once we do that, we go on back home. Right. When we can have these conversations that aren't so nice,
right,
in the privacy of our own homes.
Exactly.
And so we keep these ideologies going, because we don't have to be held accountable in a home that we have a bunch of people that think like us. We get it affirmed. We get our biases, our prejudices affirmed.
Right.
You know, so it's like what I tell anybody: cell groups are very powerful. Now, if I can go home and bring to the hive this new information, this new way of thinking, I can influence that cell, right? Then the people within that cell group can go on, take it to another cell group, so on and so forth.
Right.
Then before you do have a demographic and the people that have changed their way of thinking, that are more progressive. But until then, you know,
it is what it is at this point. So any final thoughts for the audience for tonight?
Yes, just live your truth unabashedly. I guarantee you those that are supposed to love you will. And those that are supposed to assist you in your journey will. And I just encourage anybody who's struggling with their identity, struggling with living in their truth, you're only struggling because you're afraid of what other people will think. And the minute that you get that out your mind, the calmer you'll be, the more at peace you'll be. And my prayers are with you in that.
Why, thank you, Dee.
Thank you
for being
me.
out anytime. I love it. We had so much fun tonight.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in for another TC2 episode. You can subscribe to the page on YouTube if you missed any episode, or you want to just keep up with us and see what new shows we have on. We also have our Facebook page, so you can also become a member to that. So just keep in touch with us. If you have any ideas that you would like to see, any topics you would like to see on the show, inbox me. If you'd like to be on the show yourself, just inbox me. And once again, thank you, everybody, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Yay.